The craftsmanship also features embroidery of real gold Zardozi. Radhika Merchant's aesthetic is truly special.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta, and we're joining you live from CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. It's deja vu again for Muslim women and India at large. As the self-appointed custodian of Muslim rights in India, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board has decided to challenge the recent Supreme Court verdict in favor of a Muslim woman's right to invoke Section 125 of the CRPC to claim maintenance beyond the period of iddat after a divorce. Just like in 1985, after the famous Shah Bano judgment, when this board had first come into limelight, when it intervened and pressurized the Rajiv Gandhi government to blunt the Supreme Court order then too. Despite the court clearing once again the fact that even a Muslim woman, if she so needs it, can invoke the secular law of Section 125, AIMPLB wants to oppose it, citing their personal law. This brings into spotlight again the dichotomy of personal rights in India. On one side, they are allowed to persist even in forms that are perverse according to our fundamental rights. And on another, they are in direct contravention of even many Indian penal code sections. It also shows how this body, the AIMPLB, has not moved an inch from its position even after 40 years. It shows how they jump into action without having any locus standi, lest a Muslim woman should get some justice under the Indian constitution. But most importantly, it shows the duplicity of those who on one hand hail Indian secularism and on another oppose it when it comes to their personal laws, even freedoms and fundamental rights. Are personal laws then above secularism for some Indian Muslims? That's the question we take to our guests in just a bit. First up, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board passed a resolution in this matter yesterday. The Supreme Court on July 10, remember, had said that Section 125 of the CRPC, which is to do with maintenance to divorced women, is applicable to women of all faiths. The AIMPLB says this ruling is contrary to Islamic law and principles. Supreme Court last week said the section cannot exclude Muslim women from its purview, and that would be a violation of Article 19 of the Constitution, to which the Muslim body says that husbands supporting their ex-wives was against the very nature of a divorce. Supreme Court had remarked that maintenance to a divorced woman is not charity but their right, till of course as long as they don't remarry. The solution the AIMPLB had to offer was that if a divorced woman faces hardship, the Waqf boards of those respective states will take care of them. Mind you, this is the exact position they took even in 1985. Yet Muslim women have been going to court for maintenance beyond the period of iddat. The top court had remarked that the time has come for every Indian man to recognize a homemaker's role and sacrifice. AIMPLB asks, why should a Muslim married man bear double burden in the name of women's rights? Now, this is not the first time the AIMPLB has tried to create hurdles for Muslim women. On the issue of uniform civil code, they have always been up in arms. In fact, the AIMPLB was formed in 1972-73 to reject adoption bill, which was to become a part of UCC. On the Child Marriage Restraint Act, the Muslim body opposed the amendment which set the age of marriage at 18 for girls in 1978. Shah Bano case, of course, where this divorced Muslim woman was granted maintenance by the Supreme Court, but the AIMPLB pressurized the Rajiv Gandhi government to dilute that order on alimony in 1985. And most recently in the instant triple talaq case as well, they opposed its abolition in 2017, even going on to the extent to say that it could lead to harm of or murder of a wife or a woman if her husbands are restrained from giving them divorce. AIMPLB, though, continues to be against alimony all over again. So are personal laws above secularism in India for some? That's the big debate coming up.
कोई आदमी शादी के बाद, तलाक के बाद भी अगर उसे ज़िंदगी भर मेंटेनेंस देना है तो वो तलाक क्यों देगा? मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड की वर्किंग कमेटी ने प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ बोर्ड को ये अथॉरिटी दी है कि वो लीगल कमेटी से कंसल्ट करके इस कानून को, इस फैसले को कैसे रोल बैक किया जा सकता है, इस पर काम करें।
मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड है उसको खुद में रिफॉर्म करने की ज़रूरत है।
कुछ लोगों की आदत है कि वो हर सुधार पर, हर संवैधानिक सुधार पर सांप्रदायिक वार करने की कोशिश करते हैं और उसकी कोशिश के पीछे उनकी मकसद और मंशा होती है कि कौम की तरक्की पर, तालीम पर तालिबानी ताला जड़े।
हिंदुस्तान की कोई भी बॉडी या कोई भी इंडिविजुअल हो, उसे संविधान सम्मत तरीके से सुप्रीम कोर्ट में या कोर्ट में जाने का हक है।
ये माननीय न्यायालय इस सारी चीज़ों को देखेगा, इसके बाद जो है माननीय न्यायालय हम समझते हैं कि उनके मांग पर विचार करें।
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Guru Prakash Paswan is national spokesperson of the BJP. Rashid Sharif is president of the SIM-PLB. Ashutosh Srivastava, senior lawyer, and Ahmed Ayaz, secretary of the Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Personal Law Board, is also joining us. Ahmed Ayaz, why don't I begin with you? The court is saying that you cannot bar Muslim women from coming to court or from invoking Section 125. Clearly, there are women who feel that they need the protection of this secular law and they cannot be denied the right to invoke it, even if the marriage and the divorce are taking place under the personal law. Should the AIM-PLB be going to court opposing this woman and such women's cases, or should they be coming out and supporting them? What is wrong with this body?
No, whatever is the existing personal law, that itself supports the woman.
In what way?
Going through the article, I will explain. Going through the article 25 of the Constitution, which recognizes the personal law, itself speaks about that whatever laws are there with various communities, those are recognizable by the Constitution also. So in personal Muslim personal laws, a woman divorced can be eligible for maintenance only for a period of 3 months. So, because after 3 months, she is eligible to remarry. So, how can it be if she marries to someone, and then how can a former husband keep on...
No, this law in any case is not invoked if the woman remarries. Then the woman does not have the right to alimony. That is very clear, not just for Muslim women or any woman under this law. This law, this woman is going to court only because she has not remarried and she needs support from her ex-husband.
Still, as long as she ends the wedlock, she is divorced. So for a particular period, as I said, that there's a mention of 3 months for obvious reasons. Beyond that, she cannot be maintained by a former husband. If she means to be maintained by a former husband, then what is the necessity of the husband to divorce? Because it is always under certain conditions that...
Well, you're making it sound like financial reasons are the only reasons why a Muslim man and a Muslim woman are married. Marriage and divorce happens for all other reasons, right? It's not so much about what the financial relationship is. But in any case, Ahmed Ayaz, you're not understanding the point I'm making. The court is saying, yes, those personal laws exist, but no woman in India or no individual in India can be barred from taking protection of the secular laws that exist. You cannot restrain Muslim women from doing so. So I am not understanding why the AIM-PLB is going to court against this one individual Muslim woman.
see, why only a divorce? If a husband divorces a woman, why only you talk about the maintenance? Then why don't you talk about the maintenance to others by anyone? Because a divorce, she becomes namaram. She becomes namaram after 3 months.
Ahmadayaz, you're telling me your religious view, which I am least interested in. What I am saying is there is a criminal code of procedure that exists in India. This is not a civil law, by the way. Section 125 is a CRPC section. It's a criminal code. You know that criminal codes in India are not based on religion. That much you understand, right? So how can the court is saying that these laws precede or they are above a personal law? Personal laws have limits. Beyond that, if somebody takes shelter of a secular criminal procedure, then you cannot bar them. My question is simply, don't justify the AIM-PLB's religious view or your religious view. You can make whatever justifications. That doesn't become law. My question to you is, what message is the AIM-PLB sending by opposing this Muslim woman who's won a case?
They are justified. I see. They are justified in contesting this, and it needs to be contested because it has valid reasons to contest. Because you cannot maintain a wife. You cannot maintain a woman who is not your wife. You are supposed to maintain. A Muslim is supposed to maintain his wife only, not the wife, not the one who is divorced. And she becomes an unknown for him. Why should a Muslim man maintain a woman which is unknown for him?
Because that Muslim man, if I can just break it down, that Muslim man is living in a country which is a secular country with a constitution that guarantees certain basic rights and has a criminal code of procedure. Does that suffice?
But he is governed by the personal laws also, which is recognizable.
Those personal laws have limitations. That's what the Supreme Court order is. Those personal laws have limitations. When it gets into the realm of criminality, personal laws do not supersede the criminal code of procedure. In any case, let me bring in some others as well. Guru Prakash, in fact, let me go across to the lawyer on the panel as well. Ashutosh Srivastav is joining us. Ashutosh, two distinctions. One, I believe even in 1985, the court had reminded that Section 125 is not civil law. It's criminal procedure.
Right. It's a, yes.
And civil law does not supersede criminal law in this country.
Right. See, first of all, Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Now it is Section 144 of the BNSS.
Yes.
See, it talks about maintenance of wives, children, and parents. Now, this particular section is silent about any religion. It is a religious neutral section. So it talks about the married women and also the divorced women who can claim certain maintenance if that has not been given to her by the husband while undergoing the divorce process. So now the Supreme Court has clarified the maintainability of Section 125, the old law of CRPC, stating that it is very much applicable to the Muslim women as well.
The Supreme Court or various courts, sorry to interrupt you, but Supreme Court and various courts have been saying it for years. Even post Shah Bano case, there have been multiple cases where they've been reiterating the same thing. It seems like there are some individuals who are not seeing the writing on the wall.
In the Shah Bano judgment, also the Supreme Court only had passed that order. That came in 1985. Where this lady had filed a suit for maintenance after the divorce from her husband. And this was granted by the Supreme Court. And at that time also there were a lot of criticism across the country. But this was, not changed by the Supreme Court. In fact, the then government had formed
Yes, I'm aware of that. My question is this: why, as now that the AIM-PLB feels it will go to court and challenge it, do they have any? Just 1 second. Listen to my question. Listen to my question, Ashutosh. Do they have any legal basis to do so? One, I ask you this question on 2 counts. One, they are not party to this case. This was an individual case between a husband and a wife, or an ex-husband or an ex-wife. Secondly, what legal grounds are they going to challenge the order of the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court has given the same orders on multiple occasions when it comes to personal laws versus criminal procedures.
See, the first count, they are trying to go and challenge this maybe through the, the review petition, because appeal is not possible. It is the Supreme Court, it is the apex court which has decided. So while going to review can also be filed only on 2-3 grounds. Not on the merit of the entire new merit of the case. It can only be filed on 2 grounds if there is any mistake apparent on the face of record by the Supreme Court, or maybe discovery of certain new evidence or documents which were not available when this order was passed. But I don't think any of these two will have any proper impact here. Now, apart from that, as you further asked me, that on what grounds they can go. So I think what grounds they are mentioning here is Article 25 to 27, which talks about, and just now my friend also spoke about it, which says that any citizen in this country has, the right to profess his own religion, the way, the personal laws are. But at the same time, there is Article 14 also, which talks about, equality before law. There is Article 13, which further says that if any law is made which is against the fundamental rights of a citizen, then in that case, that law becomes void. So
all of that has already been seen as part of this case. It's the husband who was going from the family court to the High Court to the Supreme Court, challenging the very aspect that a Muslim woman cannot ask for maintenance or alimony beyond the period of iddat. Clearly, the Supreme Court and other courts have looked into those dimensions of personal laws versus fundamental laws, and they've given their verdict. The second aspect is, Ashutosh, that AIMPLB has no statutory, basis to challenge it.
Yes. See, they are only maybe claiming that, since it has been made a landmark judgment which will be applicable to the entire country. So that could only be a reason but I don't think there will be hardly any scope left for them, to go and challenge it in the review petition. So the scope is limited.
All right. Let me go across to Rashid Sharif as well. He was on the show when the verdict had first come out as well. You believe too that there is no need to, enter into this. But see, you have to understand the distinction, where the court is saying that there are certain secular laws that exist in this country and nobody can be barred from seeking protection of those laws, regardless of personal laws. Why is it that the All India Muslim Personal Law Board or personal law boards like yourself can't come to grips or to terms with the fact that certain things about, civil life will have to be governed according to certain sections of the Constitution?
बिल्कुल मैडम शिवानी जी, मैं एक चीज बताना चाहूंगा कि हमारे आम जहनों में जो होता है कि एक पर्सनल लॉ है, ये हमारा अपना लॉ है, ये मुस्लिम इसको फॉलो करता है। मैं आम लैंग्वेज में बताना चाह रहा हूँ आपको, जो थिंकिंग हमारी जो आम लोगों की है। आज अगर शरीयत लॉ में मदाखिलत करेगी, हर कोई समझ रहा है, ट्रिपल तलाक में भी यही समझे, आज भी है तो भत्ता देने की बात आ रही, तो वही समझ रहे हैं तो ये लॉ हमारा ये इस्लामिक लॉ है, इसको कोई टच नहीं कर सकता। हमको संविधान में इजाजत दिया हुआ है कि हम
ऐसी बात नहीं है, आपको ये गलत फहमी है।
एक मिनट सुन लीजिए ना,
नहीं ये सही नहीं है, आपको ये गलत फहमी है कि कोई इंटरफेयर नहीं कर सकता।
नहीं, मतलब हम है जो हमारी शरीयत लॉ पे चल नहीं सकते, हम हमारी प्रैक्टिस कर नहीं सकते, हमारा निकाह है तो काजी के पास अब होने वाला नहीं है।
हाँ, तो ये
पड़ेगा।
ऐसी फ्रीडम नहीं है राशिद जी जिसका कोई बाउंड नहीं है। when it is in opposition of certain fundamental guarantees, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ और भी गारंटीज दी गई है हर सिटीजन को। जब पर्सनल लॉ उसके अगेंस्ट जाता है तो पर्सनल लॉ नीचे रहता है, वो फंडामेंटल राइट्स ऊपर रहते हैं। ऐसे हजारों जजमेंट है हमारे कोर्ट्स के।
मैडम ये पर्सनल लॉ एक बोर्ड है, एक मजहबी बोर्ड है ये कोई लॉ नहीं है। ये हमारा जो हम जिसको मानते हैं ना वो कुरान है, हम जिसको मानते हैं शरीयत लॉ है।
हाँ,
ये
तो
बोर्ड है,
कुरान अपनी जगह है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अपनी जगह है ना भाई साहब।
हाँ बिल्कुल, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ही में कोई इजाजत दिया ना मैडम, मैं नमाज पढ़ सकता।
हाँ, तो उस इजाजत की एक लिमिट होती है। उस इजाजत का मतलब ये नहीं है कि उस देश में जो कानून चल रहे हैं उनको नहीं मानेंगे आप।
नहीं, आप जैसा कि तलाक है,
हाँ,
तलाक देने के बाद हमारा ताल्लुक खत्म हो गया। अब आप बोल रहे हैं कि उसको बता दो।
ये सेक्युलर लॉज में नहीं चलता है।
नहीं मैडम, आप नहीं, मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि तलाक देने के हमारी शरई लॉ में क्या है, अगर तलाक दे देते हैं और महर उनको अदा कर देते हैं तो हमारा ताल्लुकात खत्म हो गए। अब आप है एक जजमेंट ला लेके ये बताएंगे कि भाई आप इनको जब तक दूसरी शादी नहीं भी आप बता देते जाओ, जब तक उन्होंने दूसरी शादी नहीं करे बता आप उनको पालते जाओ। जबकि हमारे शरीयत में ये नहीं है कि ऐसे। मैं
मानती हूँ कि नहीं है शरीयत में, मैं आपको समझा रही हूँ वही चीज कि शरीयत की लिमिट है। आप इस्लामिक कंट्री में नहीं है ना।
अरे नहीं मैडम, ये बात नहीं करना चाहिए।
तो फिर आप समझ क्यों नहीं पा रहे जो मैं बात बोल रही हूँ? एक बैलेंस बना के रखा गया है, उस बैलेंस को या तो आप चलने दीजिए या तो आप ज्यादा पुश करेंगे उस बैलेंस को, तो नेचुरली लोग पूछेंगे कि फिर ये इस पर्सनल लॉ को हटाइए। अगर आप कहेंगे कि हम कुरान को मानते हैं ऐसे केसेस में और आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट को नहीं मानेंगे, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को नहीं मानेंगे, तो लोग चैलेंज करेंगे उस व्यू को।
आप जा रहे उधर ही। मैं जो बोलना चाह रहा हूँ, आप लॉ को इस पर शरई लॉ को खत्म करने की तरफ जा रहे हैं। आप ऐसे एक एक करके ट्रिपल तलाक हटाए, एक एक करके अब ये जो तलाकशुदा औरत की बात आप निकाल के बैठे हुए, उसके बाद अब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आते जाएंगे आप। मस्जिद तक आएंगे, नमाज तक आएंगे, रोजों तक आएंगे, हज को जाना भी बंद कर देंगे।
मस्जिद, नमाज और हज की बात मत करिए, ये सिविल कोड की बात है। जो लॉज हमारी सिविल लाइफ को गवर्न करते हैं, रिलीजियस लाइफ को नहीं। आपको भी ये डिस्टिंक्शन पता है, लेकिन आर्ग्यूमेंट सेक के लिए आप सब चीजों को मिक्स कर देते हैं। लेट मी ब्रिंग इन गुरु प्रकाश पासवान एज वेल। यू हियरिंग व्हाट यू आर हियरिंग। सी, सर्टेन एलिमेंट्स ऑफ द मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी आर वेरी क्लियर अबाउट वेयर दे स्टैंड। द क्वेश्चन ओनली इज, do we bow down to those sections like it has happened 40 years ago, or do we do we draw a line that this far and no more as far as personal laws are concerned?
Shivani, what happened 40 years ago was an embarrassment. It was a national embarrassment to the progressive outlook of our society. I was listening patiently to the arguments given on behalf of AIMPLB, All India Muslim Personal Law Board. It is an anti-woman institution. ये एक महिला विरोधी संस्थान है. लेट मी पुट दिस ऑन रिकॉर्ड. ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड. हाउ मेनी वुमेन आर देयर ऑन योर बोर्ड सर? आप महिलाओं के बिहाफ पे निर्णय लेने वाले कौन होते हैं, हम आपसे पूछना चाहते हैं. आपके ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड में कितनी महिलाएं हैं? Who has given you this legitimacy? Who has given you this authority to make a decision on behalf of Muslim women? I want to ask you tonight. आज आपको दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी करना होगा. अब पुरुष तय करेंगे. अब पुरुष तय करेंगे कि मुसलमान समाज की तलाकशुदा महिलाओं को मेंटेनेंस मिलना है या नहीं मिलना है. दिस इज जस्ट प्रीपोस्ट्रस इन 21st century India. This is unconstitutional. This is illegal. This is immoral. This is regressive. Now let me give you some of the reasons, Shivani. It is unconstitutional. Why? Because it goes against the grain and spirit of Article 14, which guarantees right to equality. It is unconstitutional because it goes against the spirit of Article 21, right to life and personal liberty, which guarantees right to life to everyone, regardless of your gender, regardless of your community. Number two, the Supreme Court has consistently taken this stand. Be it the case of Muhammad Ahmad Khan versus Shah Bano Begum in 1985, also in the verdict of Daniel Latifi versus the Union of India 2001. The Constitution of India, sun lijiye aap isko, we are secular by nature. Regardless of your religion, regardless of your community, our constitution in the directive principles of state policy have made this national commitment. हमारे संविधान के निर्माताओं ने ये संकल्प लिया था, हमारे संविधान के निर्माताओं ने ये सपना देखा था कि सब बराबर होंगे.
But Guru, the question also is that there is a whole section of Indian polity as well that cowers under the pressure of such Islamist forces within the AIMPLB, who are very happy to live under a secular country when it suits them, right? Because only a secular country has even space for minority rights, right? Islamic countries don't really have it, this concept. My question is, where do they go when AIMPLB, raises its head and starts opposing a singular woman's fight to get alimony because she needs it? Section 125, the court has said, is not about whether a husband has to give alimony or not. It's about those cases where the woman, the ex-wife needs it and you are in a position to provide maintenance and you are refusing and running away from your responsibility. So I'm not getting into the whole gender perspective of whether, you know, women need to be maintained, not need to be maintained. But the reality is that most women do not have means of providing for themselves. And the very same men who love that about women now are saying that once we have divorced you, we have nothing to do with you. Right? Even though you've spent your prime years bearing children for me. In most of these cases. In any case, my question is, why is Indian polity so afraid of speaking up against these sections?
No, Shivani, I think you have hit the nail on the head. And I think it is an open secret. If you go through the recent book, How the Prime Minister Decides, it has been categorically mentioned there that the decision to reverse the progressive verdict of Shah Bano was simply minority appeasement. राम मंदिर के दरवाजे खोल दो, हिंदू खुश हो जाएंगे. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में शाह बानो का वर्डिक्ट पलट तो मुस्लिम खुश हो जाएंगे. This is not the way you run a country. This is not the way a democracy functions. Let me put this very clear on record. Politics of minority appeasement. There was a long period of time in our polity, like you said, the Indian polity was absolutely doing this politics. Now you have a prime minister in 2007 who comes on record and says इस देश के संसाधनों पे पहला हक मुसलमानों का है. There is absolutely an acceptance of the fact that the fundamentalist Islamic radical forces, they are not in consistency with the principles of our constitution. Like I said, it is unconstitutional. And the point is that even we are discussing this in 21st century is a sheer waste of time. The Supreme Court has been consistent. The Indian society has been consistent. The only body that wants to live in the 7th century Arabia is All India Muslim Personal Law Board.
One credit you have to give the Muslim Personal Law Board is that they are also very consistent. The only thing is that we've been prolonging the decision making when it comes to UCC. There is never a good time. 75 years after independence also, we haven't arrived to some sort of a platform where we can finally move on with this. It's also very clear the BJP has kind of taken a step back on this. Now they're thinking going state-wise is easier for them and they're not going to do it nationwide. You've also backed off from this. Yes, sir, I'm coming to you. Ahmed sir, I'm coming to you. Yes.
भैया थोड़ा धैर्य रखिए, देश में संविधान है. Shivani, you're absolutely correct. They have been consistent not since the last 40 years. They have been consistent since the 7th century. The last 1400 years they have been consistent with the same mindset. They have not progressed from that. You are rightly pointing out they are very consistent. But the fact of the matter remains. Triple talaq ke khilaf kaun jayega? All India Muslim Personal Law Board. If revocation of Article 370 is empowering the women of Jammu and Kashmir, uske khilaf kaun jayega? All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Shah Banu Wadi ke khilaf kaun jayega? All India Muslim Personal Law Board. So this is the true face and hypocrisy. And as far as the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, Shivani, you are very well aware of the fact that it was the Bharatiya Janata Party government that had the courage and the moral conviction to come out with a legislation for abolition of triple talaq.
That's because the Supreme Court directed you.
अब ऐसे तो कुछ भी argument
No, the Supreme Court directed you and asked for a legislation. You can't take complete credit of you. No, I'm sorry.
No.
What happened on UCC? You've backed off from it.
Aren't you aware of what's happening in Uttarakhand?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying now. You're going state-wise now.
Uttarakhand, we are doing consultation with all the relevant stakeholders. Let me put this very clear. We are not shied. We are not embarrassed. The truth of our society has to come out. The women of our society, they are the better half.
I'm not questioning the BJP's ideological standpoint on it, but I think politically, this is a hot potato even for you, despite being in power for 10 years and now elected for another 5 years. Yes, Ahmed Ayaz wanted to come in.
No, it is very unfair. It looks that it is aimed to target the Muslim Personal Law Boards. It's not that. Say, I must correct my friend from the BJP that Muslim Personal Law Boards are not the people who make laws for the Muslims. It is not that. So far as this instant case we are discussing is concerned, it is by Sharia. They are not the people, or Muslim Personal Boards are not the organization which make laws. They are only a body which does not do something which is beyond the Sharia, beyond the Quran.
Ahmed, that's fine. I understand that, and the argument is not whether what they're doing is, per Sharia or not per Sharia. That's not anybody's concern, mind you. The concern is that there is a certain section that believes that under the garb of the freedom of personal laws, everything else will be curtailed, which comes in with the territory of a secular democracy. I think this section of people, the AIM, PLB type sections, must understand that their rights to personal laws have limitations like any right under the Constitution. They should also not be seen as needlessly going again and again to courts to either play victim or to play the superior card of Sharia in front of the courts.
Oh, no, but in that case, it would mean limiting the Muslim personal laws if you apply, as you said. If you go by this, logic, then it's very clear. Then you mean to restrict the Muslim personal laws, which is by virtue of the Sharia.
Yeah, there are some restrictions. That's the reality. That's what the court is telling you repeatedly. It's not acceptable. Okay, all right. So what is the solution to that? If it's not acceptable by law and by constitution, then what is the solution?
It is already acceptable and inserted in the constitution that everybody in India, because being a secular country, being a democratic country, that everybody is free to practice his religion. So is the case of Muslims. So Muslims have this by Quran and Hadith. It is not that somebody else, it's not a man-made law. Whatever we follow is not man-made. I would like
Sir, I understand that, but when you live under the protection of a secular constitution, your personal laws are not supreme.
Okay, Shivani, then you will tell me tomorrow, don't pray 5 times, pray only 4 times. How can
if that is intervening in somebody else's right, you're being dramatic, Ahmed Ayaz. One second. If your personal law or if your personal action is intervening in somebody else's fundamental right, that person at least has the right to go to court and challenge it. इसमें victimhood की कोई बात ही नहीं है.
No, I'm sorry, I have my own rights. I don't know whether
you have your rights. So as long as those rights don't hurt anybody else and don't come in the way of somebody else's fundamental rights, those rights exist. That's the natural balance.
We don't come. No, we don't come. Then in that
so in this case, the Muslim woman felt that she is not getting the due protection of the right that is guaranteed to her by the Indian Constitution. She asked for alimony, the husband opposed it, the ex-husband opposed it, went up till the Supreme Court. A judgment has been given. Now, there's no point going to the court, trying to tell the court that no, our Sharia law is supreme. It's not. That realization has to set in. And okay, I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Looks like the All India Personal Law Board or bodies associated with it are not going to change their mind, despite the fact that repeated verdicts have been given by the Supreme Court that there are certain rights that are above personal rights in India. Time for a very short break. On the other side, former US President Donald Trump survives an assassination bid. But the political fight that has broken out is also spilling over back in India between the BJP and the Congress primarily, where the BJP is calling out similar vitriolic parallels against Narendra Modi.